This episode of Thinking Tackle is in association with Daiwa Linear BR Reels.
Welcome to the Thinking Tackle Guide to Holiday Carp Fishing. We're here at Abbey Lakes, just north of Paris, in search of the massive fish in these waters. They're up to 65 pounds in here. We've just seen one at 66 pounds caught this morning in the other lake, Heron. I'm fishing fox, which is dominated by bait boats, but I'm going to fish traditional English style with a spot and everything. And what we're going to do in the next few shows is talk you through all the tips that we use on these kind of waters to fool these wary fish. Because a lot of people come to France and think the fish are going to be climbing up the line, but that is not the case. These lakes are getting fished by 15 to 20 anglers every single day of the week, right the way through from the spring right through to the autumn. So the fish are very cute, and you have to fish properly to get loads of bites. And the first tip I'm going to show you is just to put a little bit of bait out before you cast your rigs out. Now, what I've done is put out a load of bait earlier on, probably 3 or 4 hours ago, and not fished on top of it because no bites are coming during the day at the moment. I've just left the swim with no lines in it at all. The fish can pass over that bait, they can have a little feed, and there's no line in there to scare them away. But if they're out there now feeding on the bottom and I cast rigs straight on top of them, I can scare them away. So I'm just going to put one spodful over each of the rods, and what that's going to do is hopefully just get the fish to drift out the swim. There'll be a bit of bait falling through the water, not too scary, it's not a great big lead dropping between them, and they're going to drift out the area hopefully, give me a chance to get my 3 rods in, and hopefully we'll get a bite quite quickly. Right, just check behind me. Out she goes. That's all clipped up at about 70 yards, and basically when we got here these swims were free and there were a lot of fish jumping around here. I've got a lot of weed going out from the bank, probably 50 yards of weed, so I'm fishing just about 20 yards past it, and we're going to show you how to tackle the weed as well, because I've already lost a couple of fish where they've weeded me up, so I've adjusted things around to get over that. I managed to catch a 32 pounder yesterday afternoon, which was really good, a lovely common. And these lakes are full of fish like that, of all different strains. You've got big long commons, short deep ones, you've got mirrors and levers, fully scales as well. They're really beautiful fish, and the water's quite clear here. So that does make it hard to get bites during the day, but it also makes the fish very, very dark, which makes them lovely when you hold them up for the cameras. Okay, now that's just enough bait just to scare the fish away. I'm not trying to feed them, I'm literally just trying to get them away from the area before I get the rigs out. So that can go down there out of the way. And then my rods are already set up, they're already clipped up at the range. So this one is the left, that's the right hand rod. And we're going to talk you through the rigs and everything obviously later on in the show. But I got my bite yesterday in about an hour's time at about 6 o'clock. So I'm keen to get these out here. I'm just going to wet the eyes of the rod just so the cast goes out nice and smooth. And I've already lined this up with markers on the far bank, so I know what to cast at. The lines are clipped at the right distance, so as long as it hits the clip, I'm landing bang on top of my bait. Let's hit the clip. Just let that fall on a tight line. donk onto the gravel, just take it out of the clip. Right, and I've just let the line settle on that rod. It's just bowed a little bit round with the crosswind, but the rig's dropped in the right position. So I'm just going to let this settle, just tighten up a little bit, and then I'll do the next rod and the next one down. So it's always best to do the one upwind first of all, and then do the other ones so the lines don't get crossed over each other. Out she goes, hits the clip, that's landed in just the right spot, donk on the bottom. Now these rods are only being fished literally probably 6 feet apart each rig. I've got all the bait in one area and I'm trying to draw the fish into me rather than having one rod over there, one rod over there. It's fairly flat on the bottom out there, so I'm basically using the bait as the feature. So I've put maybe 20 or 30 spodfuls out, and I'm not going to put any more out unless I get a couple of bites off of it, but I've got the spod clips up at the right range as you've seen, so if I get bites during the night I can always put some more bait out. And that's another thing a lot of people don't bother with on these sort of venues. They get a couple of bites during the night and they don't put any more bait out, and the fish have eaten all the bait and off they go somewhere else. So if I've had a couple of fish I'll always put more bait out to try and keep them in the area. So that one's gone out lovely. Right, and now for the last one. I'm very lucky in this swim. I've got a big line of poplar trees on the far bank and I'm basically fishing 4 trees down, 8 trees down and 12 trees down that line. So at night, if I have to recast these rods again, I know the left-hand rod is 12 trees down, so I can count that in the night and aim straight at that and go back out on the spot again. So let's hope this one hits the clip. Lovely. Donk, down she goes. And there we go, we're angling for the night. I'm not going to do anything else unless I get a bite. Now Adam's actually on Heron Lake, which is behind us. That's the lake that did the 66 pounder this morning. And I showed him the pictures on my camera and he's moved from over there straight onto Heron, which is another thing very few people do on these waters. They stay one swim, they bivvy up, they've got everything in the kitchen sink with them, and if there's fish getting caught elsewhere they're not prepared to move, which I think is a mistake. So we're going to go around and see Adam now and he's going to talk you through his swim and where he's putting his baits.
Well, I'm over here on Heron Lake at Abbey and I'm feverishly trying to get the rod sorted out. The sun's dropping away quite quickly now. Just moved over from Fox Lake, caught a fish there, but things had slowed up a bit. So the guys who were fishing just a bit further down here caught a stunning carp this morning, and a real big one as well, 66 pounder. They had a few other good big fish, but what really appealed to me about the fish, they were really dark,